Welcome back to Landscapers Challenge. I'm Marianne Curran. Three different designers presented Mark Dzik and John Oden with three different visions for their traditional Japanese strolling garden. Now the pair must decide which design they like best. Was it Chuck Carr's enclosed space with its meandering path? Or did they prefer Tom Poplin's mountain meadow design? Maybe they like the distinct but connected space created by Mark Bell. Let's find out now.
I think the biggest challenge was to choose amongst the three designs. They were all great. They all had different ideas that were functional for our backyard.
We decided to choose Mark Bell, and the basic reason was his integration of our existing yard with this new design. And at this point, we're just really excited to get going.
I'm really excited about being selected by Mark and John to do the garden. I think it's a great opportunity to really try and sort of integrate kind of a lot of complex situations and really pull together, I think, a nice design in the end.
Now that the decision is made, work gets underway. A bulldozer is brought in to create variations in the terrain. Mark will relocate any harvested boulders throughout the garden and place them along the waterfall and pond. Workers dig up the screening shrubs along the eastern end of the yard and will replant them along the northern fence. Meanwhile, while John is at work, Mark Bell has arranged to show Mark Dzik a public Japanese garden that has been developed around a water reclamation plant.
Mark, this is a large Japanese garden.
You know, it is really large, but at the same time, it sort of gives you a sense of openness, which is a quality that I really want to try to maintain within your garden. And you can see that it has a lot of elements that are typical of a traditional Japanese garden. You have water, like in a pond, and you have islands. And I can see over there that there's an island that has the sago palms that I want to use in the garden. And then over here, there's like a large grove of bamboo that they use to sort of screen out the outside areas. And I think privacy is going to be an important thing to maintain within your garden. And then you can see there are some sloped areas with some rocks and so forth and other planting.
And an arbor similar to ours.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we keep walking and see what we find?
This reclamation plant, with its wide open spaces and large amounts of water, make it a favorite spot, not just for people, but also for birds of all types. Some live here year-round, while others stop off while migrating. Mark and John want their garden to attract wildlife as well, but on a smaller scale.
That waterfall is really more grandiose than what you're going to actually see. But in some of the flatter areas, there are a couple little falls, and that's going to be a little bit more like what you're going to see in your garden.
Mark, I do really want to have the sounds of water in the garden.
Yeah, I think water in a garden is a really important element to have.
In addition to water, Japanese gardens often feature stone lanterns. Mark Bell has included these in his design.
Now, Mark, this part of the garden is, I think, in a little bit more of a natural, kind of a looser feel than the rest of the garden. And it's a little bit more in keeping with what you're going to have within your garden space. You can see that we have the mondo grass here, used around the pond. And Mark, also in the garden, they have the tea house here, which is a Japanese craftsman style, and it kind of evokes the same quality that you have in your own greenhouse and arbor.
Right. Well, Mark, thank you very much for showing me this wonderful garden.
Oh, you're welcome.
Back at the house, work is well underway on Mark and John's water feature. Every detail is checked and rechecked. Cinder blocks are used for the walls of the pond, and Mark Bell makes sure each one is placed correctly. Will all this care pay off and result in the garden that Mark and John envisioned? We'll find out when Landscapers Challenge returns. For questions or comments, please write to Landscapers Challenge, care of HGTV, Box 50970, Knoxville, Tennessee 37950. Be sure to include the episode number and your daytime phone number. Welcome back to Landscapers Challenge. It's been 2 months since Mark Dzik and John Oden asked landscape designer Mark Bell to transform a large patch of land into a Japanese strolling garden. Has Mark and John's backyard become the peaceful meditation space they desired? Let's hear from our homeowners now.
It was a pleasure to work with Mark because he listened to our design needs and was able to put them into reality for us.
The construction process is always a challenge. Some days we came home and didn't feel like anything had been accomplished, but other days we were out here with our flashlights seeing all of the discoveries, and it was fun to watch.
I'm here at Mark and John's today. The garden's all done, and it's the first time that I've had a chance to meet with them and talk to them about what they think of it, so I'm anxious to find out.
John and Mark's new Japanese garden is an oasis of rushing water and lush vegetation. Before, this large area of their yard was a wide open patch of weeds and dirt. Now that same blank space is an impressive garden that blends seamlessly with the existing landscape.
Mark, I really enjoy the tranquility that this pine path has afforded us. It's so peaceful to be here now.
Yeah, this is sort of like the announcement of what you're going to be experiencing when you go through the garden, and these pine trees give you quite a presence because they're so large and they create quite a bit of shade. And the gate entry really came out beautifully. I'm very happy with that because it has that Asian flair to it, and we were able to find those bamboo panels pre-made, which was a nice addition to the whole gate itself.
Beyond the gate, the once bare plot of land has been transformed into a garden filled with traditional Japanese elements.
I tried to create sort of a series of vignettes or little areas as you came through the garden, starting, of course, with the pine path when you enter the garden, coming to the seating area over here underneath the plum tree. The path over the bridge takes you out into this nice big lawn area, and then you've got the pond, you've got the waterfall. There's a meditation circle back here within the bamboo grove. And then as you come around, you come to the gravel beach, which is bringing you back out to this sort of wide expanse area with the views of the mountains and everything.
While creating the garden's terraces and water features, Mark's crew unearthed some valuable stones. They were all used to construct the stream bed and the edge of the pond.
The pond is just wonderful, even with one island.
Mark Bell's plan initially called for 2 islands, but he determined that 1 island would be proportionally better for the size of the pond. As for lighting, Mark chose fixtures that are functional while reinforcing the meditative mood and Asian style Mark and John desired.
I thought it was important to sort of, allow you to be part of this garden both in the day and the nighttime as well.
One of the more unique garden areas is the bamboo-shrouded meditation space.
Obviously, this bamboo has a lot of growing to do, and I think that in the near future, when you go into this meditation space, you will truly feel enclosed by the bamboo and separated from everything else around you.
Mark, this is better than we could have ever have planned.
We really appreciate your effort on our behalf. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Designer Mark Bell married Eastern and Western design sensibilities to create a tranquil, integrated space that Mark and John can enjoy for years to come. Thanks for joining us on Landscapers Challenge. We'll see you next time when we put 3 more landscape designers to the test. I'm Marianne Curran.